Menino, quem foi teu mestre? Menino, quem foi teu mestre? Meu mestre foi Salomão. A ele devo dinheiro, saúde e obrigação. What a powerful group of lyrics put together. One of the first songs I remember learning. And today I really want to talk about something, got an email and somebody asked me about what's the difference between a discipulo and an aluno. Today you guys are going to have to forgive me. There might be a little bit of a background buzz because I've got the heater on and it's just saving my life right now. Discipulo, directly translated to English, would be disciple. Someone who is intrinsically connected to the person who's teaching. Aluno is student. And I think in this conversation, I want to use the aluno as a student in a commercial sense, as we have a lot of people asking me, how do you deal with the money side and everything? So I'm not going to get into that today, but we're going to talk about the aluno versus discipulo, in my opinion. First and most importantly, the aluno lives a life alongside learning with their mestre or with their instructor. And now the popular term is vivencia, to live along with. But we have to be careful. There is a difference between aluno and discipulo. Neither one is good or bad. It's all part of the way the relationship develops between an instructor and the person who walks through the academia doors. Vivencia, to live alongside your mestre, to grow along with them on your capoeira path, is to be conscious, or I would use the word consciencia, or awareness, that you are part of an inner circle that is created by that instructor or by that mestre, and you're aware not only of the value of it, but also of the responsibilities and the hardships of being part of that inner circle. This is vivencia, because you're living the life alongside on your path of capoeira with that instructor or in that capoeira community or at the side of your mestre or mestra. This is vivencia, in a simple way to talk about it. While the aluno or student is a client who pays for services, the service of capoeira classes, the service of teaching, the service of learning, the service of being part of that group. Just like going to McDonald's or just like going to a restaurant or a cafe, you're paying for a service expecting something in return. It's not bad, but this is the reality. Because why? Money is being exchanged, so now you're paying for a service. And a lot of times people don't think about these things. It's subconscious actions. It's not bad. It's just how we process information and how we process relationships. So the discipulo has vivencia and is aware of the good, the bad, and grows alongside that path. The aluno or student pays for a service, such as going to a university, such as paying for academic tutorship, anything. You're paying for a service, right? So, the main difference I see is the discipulo, or let's go with the aluno is paying for a service. They are paying directly for a service. They're not there to help clean bathrooms. They're not there. They're paying for a service to walk into the academia, to take the class, to enjoy for whatever their goal is, whatever their level they want to reach, for whatever participation they want. They are paying for that service. The discipulo pays to support the Mestre to teach capoeira. They pay to support the group. They add value outside of what they're paying for to the group, to capoeira, to the Mestre or the Mestra. I'm going to use the word Mestre because it's just easy. I don't want to keep going back and forth, Mestre, Aluno, Aluna, and all that. So I'm just going to use Mestre. By no means does it mean only men teaching. This is using it as a generic term. So, for example, a student who comes in and sees that the equipment is a little bit untidy, and I have these fantastic disciples who come in and they're like, just naturally start picking up. Maybe that's a habit on their side. But the awareness or the conciencia that I have that that's happening develops a certain type of relationship subconsciously. While the aluno comes in, changes, maybe even smirks when things are not perfect, but they don't add to the environment. Yes, they can add to the capoeira game, they can add energy, but not just the roda or the training, but to everything outside their own enriching experience in capoeira. Does that make sense? Aluno pays for a service and stays within a certain parameter or a certain path and tries not to get too involved outside and doesn't cross the lines of customer service or service provider with paid for service. I'm the client paying for a service. The discipulo moves in and out and is aware of these interactions. Okay? Who chooses this relationship? The student and the master both choose a relationship. It's a process that takes time and develops. I'm not talking about quick relationship. For example, somebody new comes in, oh, I love capoeira, and all of a sudden they're like inner group, but then later fade out. I'm talking about vivencia is at least, I would say, at least a process of 3 to 15 years. At least a process, minimum of 3 years. Why? Because it's a growing experience where capoeira is becoming part of your identity, not as a client or someone paying for service, but as someone who is enriching themselves from capoeira. Of course, this can be for anything. So, the student has to decide and be aware of how they want to interact with this. For example, do they want to be ambulance? Here we go. The hardships of having an academy on the main street. Okay, they're gone. So the student can actually choose generally. Why? Because the client is paying for the service. I don't know any capoeira instructors who would say, I don't want students. I don't want students to pay. Maybe there are people doing volunteer work and all that. That's fine. But I'm talking about on my side as running an academia, running a business, providing for my family. Providing for my family. This is very important. If you're working from capoeira and providing for your family, people who are not, stay out of it. Give advice, but stay out of it. Don't criticize. Why? Because until you've walked a mile in our shoes and seen how difficult it is to run an academia, to provide for your family, the hardships, same way you wouldn't want us to jump into your lives. Not in a bad way. You can give opinion, especially if you're a discipulo. But if you're a student, you have to also know where your place is. Not a negative thing, perspective. So, the instructor needs to know, to have conciencia, awareness of how they're creating the relationship. As a mestre, I try to really see how I'm growing relationships with each individual client or alumno. I need to be aware of how I interact with those people, with that person, how I see the relationship going. Why? Because experience has taught me that not every relationship is going to be exactly the same. Although every person who walks into my academia or comes to a workshop or participates in something I'm doing, I try to believe 100% that they are on the path to be a mestre or a master, to enrich themselves from the life of capoeira. That is my responsibility as a master, to look at people who come into capoeira, and I will do my best for them regardless. At that point, now it's the person paying for the classes or the person coming to the classes who are responsible to make their place or their space in capoeira. The instructor needs to be very aware how they're treating people. Now, the student needs to have consciência of the way they want to be. Do they want to be discipulo? Do they want to be, aluno? And the most important thing, both sides need to mature enough to stop blaming each other. Most people ask me, well, how do you deal with this? I get a lot of emails, maybe because the English base facilitates for me to communicate more. I don't know. But people always visit me and ask me, how do I deal with my instructor? How do I deal with the person who's taking advantage of me? Or I love capoeira. Look, you're paying for a service. You don't like it, get out. Second, as a aluno or discipulo, don't blame the instructor. Don't blame the instructor. We process our lives in something I learned when I was very young, and I hope this instills in people how I feel and how I've achieved the little bit of success that I might have, or at least living my life the way I want to. When I was in junior college, I took a fantastic class of Psychology 101. A lot of people take it. By no means am I an expert. But 2 terms, 1 class, internal locus of control, external locus of control. We all know people who have an external locus of control and blame everybody else, everything around them for what's going on. They are never responsible. Unfortunately, these types of people never get ahead in life. Internal locus of control, which I try to live my life, is I'm responsible. I control what's going on around me. I control the type of relationships I want. I'm aware of the type of relationships I'm creating, the situations I'm making. I'm aware, I'm in control of who I am, and what I want to be, especially when it comes to capoeira. No one can speak ill of me, and I can care. Why? Because I can only control my feelings. I can't control what other people think. It's not a lack of responsibility. It's the ultimate show of responsibility when you are responsible for yourself. When you don't like how your capoeira group is going, when you don't like how your instructor treats you or treats other people, if you don't like it, don't complain. Talk. Communicate. A lot of people, but it's hard. Then leave. Then leave. Today in the world, we have so many capoeira groups that have splintered off from other groups because they couldn't communicate or because they just didn't agree and get along and didn't go on the same program as the original core group. There's nothing wrong with it. Only ego and hiding and talking behind will create problems. If a person doesn't like your choices for what you're doing, that's them. You can't control them. Good or bad, you're going to have to live with the choices you make. 2 good examples. 1, I offshot from my old capoeira group, made my own group, and today, Mestre Sucuri, and I love my life. I created a circle around me, my roda of my life, with good people. And there were hardships and struggles where I had to cut people that were not healthy relationships. We all have that. As best as I can, I'm trying to live my life with healthy people around me. So you have to choose, how do you want to live your life? How do you want to have the relationships? If someone says, I had an experience where somebody came to me, Mestre, my old Mestre is talking bad. Other capoeira mestres are cutting me off. I don't have, capoeira. The capoeira world is so big. I can't even fathom how many people are doing capoeira, how many mestres are out there, how many types of thinking are out there that you cannot find people who are like-minded, especially in this modern day with Facebook and technology and communication. Then you're pretty much limiting your own world of capoeira to about that big, to your neighborhood, to your part of the city, to your city. If you have a bad experience with somebody, it's your responsibility to recover and move forward if you love capoeira. There has never been one person in my life of capoeira that has influenced me not to want to do capoeira. Yes, I've had good, I've had bad. Yes, I've fought. Yes, I've been hit. Yes, I've hit people. Yes, I'm not talking about being tough. I'm talking about living capoeira. I've cried from happiness and sadness because of the relationships I've loved and lost through capoeira. But this is a part of the human experience, part of your path of capoeira. There's nothing wrong with it. You have to process your experience and your information so that you can be the best you can be. For the instructor, you need to be aware, consciencia, are you creating reciprocal relationships? Are you giving as much as you're taking? Are you supporting as much as you're being supported? And I'm not talking about just in capoeira. If you want disciples, you have to be there for them too. One thing that I try to be conscious of, or consciencia, is, for example, I've got some amazing parents, some amazing adult students. Of course, the kids are fantastic. And I owe them everything. To them, I owe health, wealth, and gratitude. I remember for years, my wife has always come up to me and said, it's awesome how you go out of your way to help students, to help people in capoeira, to help the community, for volunteering. I said two things, but I'm aware. One, it's marketing. It's always good to help other people, unless it's going to cause hardship on you. For example, I'm not going to go do a show for free if I'm going to have to close my academia for a week and lose money. It's ridiculous. But if I get the opportunity, which I do a lot, can you come do a volunteer show for 20 minutes at the local preschool? You know how much fun that is? Do you know what the marketing value is of that? Think about how you're interacting, because as long as you're doing something positive, you're getting value from that. I want to close off this video with one more point. I'm blessed to be Capoeira Mestre. I wouldn't change it for anything. It's what gives me the opportunity to sit here, drink a cup of coffee, live my life happy, and do the best I can. I'm not perfect. Yes, I've got problems. Yes, I've got issues. Who doesn't, right? But I'm hoping that these kind of videos help people have a little bit more awareness or consciencia to improve their lives through capoeira. Olha, manhã, manjinga e oração. Capoeira é religião. Look at the manha, the trickery, manjinga, the magic, and the oration, the prayer. Capoeira is religion. Spiritual path, philosophy, what you give and take as an instructor and as a student or as a client, as an aluno, discipulo, mestre, is up to you. Hope this helps. Ashe.